So we are talking about opportunities today, right? Um, Specifically, we're going to be looking like the big thing I really want to get to today is looking at the checklists and making sure that you guys have some options. This is particularly good. If I can talk today, this is particularly good for our newer brokers who a lot of times when they're getting into everything, get a little overwhelmed and potentially even lost with regards to like what the next step is, right? A lot of experienced brokers, this is going to be a great way to look at your checklist and see if there's anything that you want to add or adjust on your checklist. And really what I want everybody to be doing is utilizing their checklist out of command, right? I really want you all to be utilizing your checklist out of command so that you are able to have everything in one place. There's so many people that I talk to, so many like people who are utilizing command, but also utilizing other things, FUB, YLOPO. They have their business in all of these different places. When really a lot of times it's not necessary. They're using Google Sheets to track all of the stuff that they're supposed to be doing with each client, which I mean, that's great that you have that structure. Well, what I would really like to be able to do is make you all even more efficient. Try to keep everything into one place. Remember that if you're utilizing command, if you're utilizing it for as much as you possibly can, and you're really optimizing it, you're going to get the most out of it, right? So the more information I feed the system, the smarter it makes it. The more that I use the system, the more that the system is able to do for me, right? Like if I want to look at my analytics, I want to look at my reports, the system can't tell me, what my conversion rate is if I'm not, utilizing the system for those types of things. Like if I'm not making appointments out of the system and making calls out of the system and, all of that, if I'm not telling the system what I'm doing, it can't tell me how great I'm doing or how, like, where I can improve, right? So we get logged into command, and the very first thing that I need us to do is to look at our settings. And I know that I've covered this multiple times in other classes, but I want to just quickly go in and just make sure, because this does affect what we're going to be doing today, right? So definitely want to get into your settings and just make sure that everything is good to go. Hey. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to click on my little, right next to my name, that little caret, that little drop down, and I'm going to go to settings. When I get into my settings, right off the bat, what I'm looking for is just making sure that everything social media wise and email wise is connected, that I want to engage with. So if I'm going to be utilizing Facebook, or if I'm going to be utilizing Instagram, with regards to doing campaigns or doing any kind of a marketing, anything with my opportunities, I got to have those things connected first. Okay. So just going through here and just double checking and making sure that you are connected. If you're not connected, there will be an option there for you to connect, right? So this class isn't going to go over like all of that because we've done this in the past. But if you need help with connecting these things, reach out to me later and I can definitely help you do that. Okay. So we go through, we make sure our stuff is connected. Instagram, I don't have connected. So this is something that I would want to connect, but I don't have a business Instagram account. So that's something I would have to create because it'll only do it off of a business account. And then I'm going to go down and I want to double check my email, because a lot of the way that we're going to be engaging with our clients is going to be via email. So I go down to where it says command email. I'm going to click on manage, and it's going to tell me where I stand with regards to my monthly usage, right? We're allowed up to 5,000 free emails a month. If we need more than that, then we can go into manage subscription. But also what's really important to view is what's below that.
Adrian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Could we back up to the category above it, which is productivity?
Productivity?
Yeah. I'm in the settings, I'm going down, you have applications, then you have social, then you have productivity. I'm not in the, I'm not in the email services, I'm in the category above it called productivity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Keller covered in Office 365.
Yeah, why would you want to have 365? What's Keller covered?
So that's the insurance stuff. I'm not going to cover that stuff today. Like I said, we're just going to go and make sure that like you know where to find this stuff.
Okay,
And then if you
okay,
need help connecting these things later, we can connect them. But some people do use Office 365 as like for their email and stuff like that. Like that's what the front desk uses. So a lot of people would utilize this and would want to connect that.
okay. I'm sorry for the interruption.
No, no, you're good. So we're looking at this command email. So if I click on the manage, what I really want you guys to be able to check and make sure is set correctly is the way that your emails are going out. Because there's multiple times that we're going to be sending out emails in different ways, whether it's through a smart plan, whether it's through even just like now we can do the one-off emails, right? So if I go into any of my contacts and I click directly on their email from their contact card, I can send them directly now an email right from command. Instead of having to create a campaign around it or anything like that, I can just do one-off emails, which is nice. So I want to make sure that when those emails are going out, that it's coming from the correct email. So you can go to the reply to email and it does give you some options. And if you need to add an option, they have the little pencil on there and you can add an additional option. Okay. But typically it's going to be what is already put into the system via your marketing profile or via what was entered in for you initially with your KW email. Okay. So make sure that that is set the way that you want it, that your sender name reads the way that you want it. And then if you make any changes, you're going to hit save those changes. Okay. So once we have that taken care of and our settings are good, then we're going to go over. And what I really want to start looking at initially is going to be, we're going to click into opportunities. And it's looking here at our pipeline. Okay. Like I said, there's a few different things that I want to take care of today, and it's going to be just kind of touching on some marketing, really getting into the checklists and making sure that we have client updates set up the way that we want them. Okay. So the very first thing for those of us that are on a team is that we want to make sure that we are looking at the correct pipeline. I will tell you from experience, it can be very frustrating if you make a change, like especially like a change with a checklist or any kind of marketing, you make that change under one of these. And then when you go back and you're under a different one of these, not realizing it, looking for that change that you made and not seeing it, could be very frustrating. Like I put all of my checklists under my personal. So I've got my team that I'm associated with, right? The 239 leadership team. And I've got my personal, and then I've got all. Right? What I want to focus on today is going to be my personal. Okay. So I made all these changes under my personal, clicked around into command, eventually came back to opportunities, and then was clicking back into do another checklist. But I happened to be under the 239 leadership team, and I wasn't seeing the changes that I made earlier. That confused me for quite a while and frustrated me for quite a while until I realized I was under the wrong thing. So make sure first that when you're going into opportunities that you're looking at the correct pipeline. Okay. So today we're going to focus on the individual pipeline. Okay. For those that are on teams, we need to go over options for teams. Please get with me later and we can definitely do that. Those can get a little bit more involved depending on your role on the team and what you have access to. Okay. So focusing on the individual, Then I'm going to, what I want to do today is just create a couple of opportunities. Okay. So I'm going to go into opportunity. And I'm going to just kind of, for the purposes of today, I'm just going to create just a real basic practice one. So I'm going to just fill in the everything with an asterisk, and I'm going to leave everything else alone. Okay. So this first one that I'm going to create is going to be a listing. And I'm going to put the client name. I'm just going to put practice listing as my client. That's how I'm going to take it. There we go. Got to add the person. So practice listing, looking for other asterisks. This opportunity name is going to be, the opportunity name needs to be what? Who knows?
The house address, the street,
The address.
the address, okay.
Good job. So we're going to say, I don't know the address that we're going to use just yet. Who has an address for a listing that we can use?
5508 Sabrosa,
What was that number again?
5508.
5508.
Mhm.
And then Sabrosa?
Sabrosa, Drive Northeast.
Like that?
Yep,
Awesome. Cool. Because I will be able to connect with that address later on. So getting it actually in there, let me move this over to the side. Okay, I have no other things except I'm going to do the commission rate. What should I do the commission rate at?
3%.
Should, right?
Sorry, the mic is open.
I know. Is it too soon? Too soon for that joke? All right, so I'm going to leave the opportunity phase at cultivate, and I'm going to put this opportunity stage at watch, very beginning of the pipeline. I'm just going to leave it there so that for the purposes of this practice, so we can show it going through the pipeline. But I'm going to create that. All right, so we have our practice listing here, and I want to real quick get this out of the way. I'm going to do another one, but I want to do a buyer, and I want to just kind of show a side by side real quick. So let's create another one. So I'm going to go back to opportunities, make sure that I'm under my individual pipeline, and then I'm going to go create opportunity. And then, okay, so opportunity type is going to be buyer, and this will be practice buyer. I'm going to add the new contact. Looking for another asterisk. Opportunity name, I'm going to leave it as, well, practice. Let's fix that. Practice. I could type today. Okay, so practice buyer. Commission rate, 3%. Opportunity phase, cultivate and watch. I'm going to leave that there, and then I'm going to create that. Okay. So we've got two different opportunities created. We have one that's a listing and one that's a buyer. So I wanted to show you right off the bat the differences. Okay. You'll notice this layout right here for the buyer. Right here at the top, I've got the buyer's name. This right here where it says practice buyer, this is their contact card. So if I clicked on that, it's going to take me to their contact card in my database. Okay. So this were somebody that actually had already in my database. I would already hopefully have all their information within that data card or within that contact card. I would have, their email, their phone number, their home address, like, notes about them. I would have tags for them. I would have all of that stuff. This just takes me back to that. Okay. Now let's look at the listing real quick. So the listing also has it connected, right, to their contact card, but it also has select from listings right here. Okay. So this enables me to actually connect to that listing. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna click on that. And I'm going to enter in the street address, 5508 Sabrosa. Oops, Drive Northeast and search. Why am I not synced? Sabrosa Drive Northeast. Okay. So it's looking. Wow. Doesn't normally take this long. Come on now. Carletta, do you by chance have the MLS number?
Oh, no, it's my house. Did you want you wanted an actual MLS listing?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Ah, well, you didn't tell me that,
It's
Adrian.
all good. It's all good. So does anybody else, any active listing?
I have one.
Awesome. Nicole, what's the address?
1212 Muriel Street,
Like that?
Northeast. Yep.
Cool. So let's try to find 1212 Muriel Street. All right. So this one right here.
That's the one that just sold. It's going on the market on Friday. So this is the previous one. That's the house, but that's not the new one. It's coming soon. Can you still get it if it's coming soon?
Turn around. No, it's not going to give it to me if it's coming
Oh,
soon.
no, it doesn't go
Oh.
till Friday. Sorry.
No, it's all good. You know, it's closed. It's okay. Well, actually, I don't want to use a closed one because it's going to affect the marketing. Do you have one?
No, they're all, oh yeah, I do have 11 Eagle Trail.
11 Eagle Trail.
11 Eagle Trail.
Zach Kara saving the day.
Yeah, I'm like, everything's sold except that one.
Yay.
11 Eagle Trail. This one?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to select that. Hit next. I'm just going to put myself as the co-listing agent right now. Next to verify. So it's probably going to have you verify.
There it is.
Got it?
Burned.
Confirmed it. All right, let's see if it'll pop up on here.
I don't think I've ever synced to MLS before. They're doing that for marketing.
I had it synced before, but I don't know how it lost the sync. So let me change this so that it all matches.
11 Eagle Trail.
11 Eagle Trail. Oh, this keeps getting in the way. Okay, itinerary has been updated. Don't know if it's syncing with it. Grr. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go. So here's what I wanted to show you though. Okay, when you have an opportunity created for a listing, you get these. So I don't know if anybody noticed, but before I clicked on the marketing tab, it had a little number 4 next to it. And that little number 4 is telling me that basically it has 4 recommendations for me. Okay, So these recommendations, because they're based on the stage, or the phase rather, the phase and the stage of where you're at. So let's go back to the pipeline real quick. And I'm going to go into my listings, into where we put it into cultivate and we put it into watch, right? So it's right here. So this, understand that there are phases of a transaction and there are stages of a transaction. So all of these at top, so the cultivate, the appointment, the active, the under contract, and the close, those are all phases of the contract. Under each one, there's going to be different stages of that phase. Okay, so because we're all the way at the beginning at the cultivate phase and the watch stage, basically at this point, what I'm seeing is that when I click into that opportunity, the marketing that is happening is based off of that phase. So you'll notice that it's like client testimonial or home value, right? What buyers love. These are all things based on the fact that like we don't know that they want to list with us yet, right? Because of that, because of that phase, that's where we're at. We're not to even setting an appointment with them yet, right? We don't know, like this is just at this point, we're just kind of nurturing this relationship and trying to pull in this potential, client. So the marketing is going to be based off of whatever phase we're at. As I move this card over, so maybe we're at the watch stage right now. And under the watch stage, we're going to have even certain tasks, right? So I have a checklist right here that I can go to and see what we're doing at that stage. This all exists because I put this in here. You're not going to necessarily have a checklist here unless you've already put it in. Okay, and we're going to go over checklists here in just a bit, but I wanted to show you kind of what it means to be in each one of these phases and stages, right? So if I move this card over, like we get to talking and now it's getting hot. Now like they're engaging with me, they're giving me feedback that like there really seems like there's some potential that I am going to list this person's house. I'm going to move them over into the hot stage of cultivate. And this for me, for when I do this, when I put a client and I create an opportunity for a client, I start everybody off in the cultivate phase, everybody. And my checklists are going to be, they're going to show that. I will not move, or I will not put a person directly into the appointment phase because my checklist there, I will have already skipped some things and I don't want to have skipped them, right? So my cultivate has things like add contact name, address, phone number, email, birthday, spouse or co-seller, and any appropriate tags. That's something that needs to be done right away in their data, in your database, right? Carletta, did you have a question?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, okay. So that like there are certain things, and I am going to give you guys the link to get to the checklists. The checklists are just, excuse me, they're just recommendations. The recommendations for these types of things that you can have being done at each stage or phase of the transaction. Okay. Does everybody understand? Is there any questions on that so far? No? All right. So once I get all of that checklist done, right? That checklist is done. And now I want to move this person. Like I said, things are getting hot. There's a lot of potential there. And maybe we are getting to that point to where we are scheduling an appointment. I'm going to drag this card up to the appointment slot. And you'll notice it turns green when I'm able to drop it into that bucket or into that phase. Turns green. So then I drop it in. I wait for the little the little notification at the bottom right to tell me that it went. And then when I go to appointment, now it's there. So now it's sitting in the first stage of appointment, which for me is scheduling. And all of this stuff can be customized, and we'll go over that here in just a bit. All of these different stages can be customized. You can add additional stages, you can rename them. You'll notice like mine are renamed, probably from what you have. Like this one in the middle for appointment for me says at the appointment. Right? For a lot of you, I'm sure it doesn't say that. So I go through and I just dropped them into appointment. I've got a different checklist now. Now my checklist is specific to that stage of this transaction. Right? So I've got different things here now for me to go off of that I need to do for this client in order to start getting ready. This is basically my listing presentation prep period. Right? So I'm starting to do all of these things. But if we go back to this opportunity and I go into my marketing, now it's in that appointment phase. So my marketing is different, right? So now it's recommending under the marketing, it's recommending a listing presentation, right? So it's changed. It's going to change depending on where it's at. As we move this opportunity to active, right? That next phase is active. The marketing again is going to change the marketing recommendations, right? And these are all just recommendations. Just to give you a heads up, like I'm going to move it to active and we can take a look at what it's going to do there, right? So if I go back to active.
How did you get to this page from where it said the cultivate an appointment page?
So I click directly on it.
And
Let's see.
appointment.
Oops, it's an appointment. So I just clicked directly on the 11 Eagle Trail practice listing. So right there, and then that takes you here. And then I click on marketing.
Mine doesn't. Mine takes me to details, documents, offers, commissions. Weird.
Details, is it under, it's
It's
as a
under
listing,
Yeah, listing, appointment.
but you're missing the whole marketing section?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Maybe I need to keep it, well, no, because it's an appointment kept. So then you click on, because nothing happens if I click on the appointment tab, you click on the address.
Go to the details for me real quick.
This is a different one.
Scroll down. Scroll back up.
This is not an MLS yet, it's right, getting ready for it. That's right. But I was like, whoa. That's here.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at that.
I've seen them there. I'll have to check it.
Yeah, because you should have that marketing tab, because it's going to give you these recommendations.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so let's go back to the opportunity. So I've got this one in appointment right now, and I'm going to drag it. Again, like we could go through each one of the stages, but the point I'm trying to get across is that as we move through the phases, that marketing section is going to change, right? So I'm going to drag this, drop it into active. And then I can go over to active, and then there it is, 11 Eagle Trail practice listing. So again, I can click on the actual name itself. It takes me here. I've got this marketing section. I'm going to click on marketing, and my recommendations are, again, different based on the phase. So now we're going active. We're getting on the market. We're going to start showing all of this stuff is happening. So now you're going to see that the recommendations are tailored towards just listed, for sale, open house, right? If I click into any one of these, right? So I can click into the for sale post, and it's going to take me into my designs center. What's nice about this is that because I went based off of that Because I went based off of that specific recommendation, that it's gonna take me right into the designs with that template already kind of set. If I go over to where it says KWLS, this is my listing service. This should hopefully connect to the MLS and pull in. Is it not doing it? It's supposed to automatically pull in the listing data or the listing photos rather, for that listing. Do you have the,
11, you want MLS number?
yeah, it might be easier with MLS.
It is 1061257. Here it is.
Awesome.
Should be lots more.
So you'll see that like yeah, I don't know why it's having trouble with connecting to the MLS today, but you'll see that I'm able to, like, when this is working properly, when we're synced up with the MLS, it's gonna pull in all the MLS photos. You can basically just click on it and it's gonna add it in. So if I liked the template and I had a photo in here that could kind of go really well with that template, oh, there we go. It just needed a little bit of time. Actually, let's get rid of this. So, there we go. So if I had something that would work well with this template already from the MLS, like maybe something like this could work with it, I could just plug it in. Zoom stuff is getting in the way. So I could just plug it in. And then just mess with the layers. So this one's gonna go back. Oops, too far back. So something like that, okay? I would play around with this, get this to where I liked it, right? And then this is my marketing piece, okay? Obviously, this isn't a completed piece. I would take more time, but I can drop in all of my, like, well, actually, let's cancel this. So stuff like this, like the logo. If I go to clicking on directly on where the logo is at and I go to my assets, I could just swap that out with my logo. Didn't do it. Delete that. That there. Right, so something like that. And I would just sit here and I would play with this until I got it right, the way that I wanted to use it and work with it, and then I would hit done. Save. Back. There we go. So once I hit done and save, it's going to take me back to where I was originally, and it's going to show me that piece that I just worked on. Okay. So if this is something that I want to push out through a smart plan, through a paid campaign, anything like that, like social media, I can do that. Okay. Although you will see that right now, social ad recommendations are away while we move them to our new AI powered experience. So they are doing a lot of work on command right now. If anybody experienced the login issue that happened on, what was it, Monday? Like, it's all of this is just because of all that they're doing right now to advance the system. There's a lot of work going into it right now, a lot of AI that's being pushed into it. So there's really cool things to come, but we are dealing with, you know, the headache of that evolution right now. Okay. So this is how the marketing portions work. Do I have any questions on that? Everybody understands like it's gonna change depending on what phase we're in. As if I move this to, if we close on this, and I move this opportunity into the closed phase, and then I come back here, my marketing suggestions are all gonna be for like, you know, just sold type marketing recommendations, okay?
So you can move it to each one to see what's in that phase, to see what you might like.
Exactly, exactly. Or you can move it and in advance, move it, work on the marketing and then move it back to where it should be. So that when you get to that phase, you've already created the social media or whatever kind of post you're doing, you've already created the content and then you could just push it out. Right, so you could just kind of get ahead of it, but it's nice because it does give these recommendations. It does already have the template set for you. So all you got to do is just go in and customize it. Right, customize it and then you can push it out however you like. Okay. All right. Something that I feel is really critical in understanding is the checklists. Okay. So if I go back to my opportunity, to my opportunities pipeline. So I come back to here. If I drop into any one of these pipelines, right? So anywhere in them, I'm going to get the opportunity to add checklists to them, right? First thing I'm going to check is to make sure that I'm in my individual pipeline. Okay. Make sure you're in the right place before you start to do the work. So I'm in my individual pipeline. I'm going to click on listings and I'm just going to click on cultivate. And then what I can do is I can go up here to where it says stages and checklists. I click on that. And because I'm in cultivate, it's going to show me my stages for the cultivate phase. You'll notice I can add stages. You'll notice there's a pencil right here next to each one of the stages. I can edit them. So if I didn't want this to say watch, if I wanted this to say, you know, long-term, medium-term, hot, like I could change these, right? To fit however it's going to best suit me and my business, whatever I'm going to understand easiest with this. Okay. So I can edit these. If I want to add a stage, I would just click on here, put the stage name. The probability, I'll be honest, I don't really understand how they get these numbers, but the probability is based on the likelihood of this, once you're in this stage, the likelihood that you're going to close. And I don't understand where they get the numbers from themselves. So for mine, I've just been putting kind of just, I don't want to say random numbers, but they've been kind of just going in succession. So like if I'm earlier on and I know that the stage before this is at a 10, at this point, maybe it's like a 15 or a 20. So I'm just kind of incrementally going up through the stages. So you could dig a little bit more and seeing how the probability actually works, but I have no idea, to be honest. So you set that and then you would save it. Okay. Now the checklists, you'll notice under here, yours might say 0 of 0 items. Mine says 0, excuse me, 0 of 7 items. So I'm going to click on this to show you how that works. I click on this and it shows me what my items are. Like my very first one on all of my stages under cultivate is going to be this add contact name, address, phone number, email, birthday, spouse or co-seller, and any appropriate tags. I'm going to do the same thing for every single client. I need to make sure that I have as much data about the person as possible so that I can help what I can do with that person in the system. The more information you put into the system, the smarter you make the system, right? The more capability you give it. Okay. So that's going to be my first one for each one, because I don't know like where somebody is going to get added into this. for all I know, if I get a brand new client and I'm talking with them, I just met them at the grocery store and we're linking up and I'm getting all their information. And so I'm going to start to get them into my database. They could be 2 years out, 3 years out, right? This could be a long nurture kind of thing, in which case I'll start them out here under watch. This person that I just met at the grocery store could be almost ready to sell. They could be working on just getting some repairs done. Maybe they're like 6 months out, 4 months out. In that case, I might put them a little bit further up and put them under this nurture. In fact, I'm going to change this. Mine's not going to say nurture. It's going to say like medium term or something like that. I'm going to change that because nurture for me doesn't fit. These, you'll notice in these checklists that they are going to change depending on how close we are to getting that thing put on the market. So if it's a long-term one, you'll notice that like the second thing I have on here, set up neighborhood nurture smart plan. The fourth thing I have on here, set up on a long-term nurture smart plan. So I have different smart plans that I'm going to put my clients under. If they're a long-term nurture, they're 2-3 years out, that's where they're going, long-term, right? But if they're not 2-3 years out, they're more like 6 months out, then maybe I'm going to put them on a more like monthly call type smart plan, right? Maybe I'm still putting them on long-term, maybe not, maybe I'm removing it, just depending on how I feel like we need to handle this. But the closer we get to hot, the more we're going to start contacting them. Set up on weekly follow-up smart plan.
Remove previous smart plan, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, you want the reminders on there as well. So you try to be as thorough about this as possible. So if you do have them on this for 3 years, you know, they're on this watch and they're on there for 3 years, they've been on that long term, you want to make sure that you're taking them off of that, because otherwise when you put them on this new one, they're going to be getting both. And that sucks for their inbox. And they're going to get frustrated with you. So put yourself reminders like that too, to take them off the things that they don't need. Okay. So I get these added on, but where are you guys going to get these checklists from? I will tell you that if you go into Slack, so you go into Slack, oh, damn, why does it always sign me out? Okay, you can access it through mobile as well. It's probably much faster. But if I go into Slack and I go to the KW Tech channel and I click on the channel details at the top and I go to where the KW Tech Google Drive is at, so this tiny URL, this is going to take me to the KW Tech Google Share Drive. Click on this. And the very first folder up here is the sample checklists. Okay. I gave you guys a bunch. I went and scoured the internet to see what I could find. And I gave you guys a bunch. I don't know why this one is locked. It shouldn't be. I'm going to have to create another copy of this and make it my own. So I will fix this one. This one is actually coming from KWRI. So I don't know why it's locked, but we do have one on here, this seller opportunity one. This one, I don't remember where it came from. Oh, this one came from Scott Leroy Marketing. So these are just some examples of things that you can put, and it does show the phase that you're in, and then it does show the stage that you're in. Okay.
Adrian, how did you get to that Google Drive again?
It's in the KW Tech channel.
Uh-huh.
And it's, if you click on the KW Tech, like the hashtag at the top, the title, it's going to give you the description for the channel. And it's right here, that tiny URL.
Oh, got it.
That
Okay.
gets you to our share drive.
Got it.
I'll
Thank
also
you.
post like when I post the recording of this class, I'll also post the link for that on that post as well. So, but yeah, that's how you get to our share drive. The share drive, it's gonna be the first folder, and you've got all these different ones. So we have the seller one, we have the buyer one. Both of those are from Scott Leroy Marketing. We have this opportunities stage one, this one. I got this one from Dana, and I'm not sure where she got it from. It must have been another region that had it because it had like bright MLS stuff in here. But again, this is just examples of what you can use. So you're gonna wanna just kind of not take these word for word, but make them your own, right? So if it does say something like, enter them into bright, it's not gonna be bright for us, it's gonna be flex, right? So if I click on the buyers, like this stuff like this, right? So where it says, bright, create auto email based on buyer criteria, that would be flex MLS, create a subscription or portal, right? So stuff like that. Bright, check buyer activity interaction in portal daily. That's gonna be flex MLS for us. Okay, but these are in here so that you are able to get some good examples of how to get those checklists started. Okay, it's gonna take a little bit. I will tell you that the easiest way for me, the way that I did it was I went in, I basically did this, right? I had my window here, I would go into the checklist and I would squeeze it onto half of my screen, and then I would open up one of these. This one's a seller one, and I would put it on the other half. And then the way that I did it was I basically just went and I did, so add an item. So it's asking for the task name. I would go over to where that was on the right side, copy it, paste it, and then create. And I just keep going back and forth like that. Copy it, paste it, copy it, paste it. Okay, almost done. Just like 5 minutes.
You're totally right.
Any questions on that? Does anybody have anything, like any other checklist that you're using that you wouldn't mind like sharing something about it? Like, where did you get it? Any ideas for checklists that are working for you guys? Anything like that?
The Scott Leroy one seems to be pretty thorough. I mean, I don't know, sometimes you automatically do a lot of those things, but if you're learning or new, it's really good to kind of go through all that stuff. If it's not in your automatic things that you do, maybe adding it. I think that it looks really thorough, so.
This one's really good. The other one that I thought was really good too is this one that's locked from KWRI. There was a lot of really good stuff on here. Like it talked about like stuff that they had on here was like for example, during the appointment, discussing certain things, or even
Sure.
after the appointment, once you're active, discussing certain things. That I think is really critical too, that you're keeping that type of communication with your client. Like one of the things I really liked too was like at the listing appointment or at the buyer consult that you are talking about expectations of like work hours and setting boundaries and stuff like that. I've heard so many realtors say that early on they made the mistake of like burning themselves out because they were just going, would not set those boundaries. For somebody whose wife works in the mental health industry and works in social work, like that's important to me. So I'm like, man, family time is family time. Like there is no life-threatening situations in real estate.
Well, it's good to share yours with them and then ask, hey, what are the best points of contact? Do you prefer email versus phone call? or
Exactly, yeah.
whatever? And if there's certain days that you're not available,
Yeah.
someone that works nights and he goes to bed at 9 AM and then is up by 1.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's, yeah.
How do you like to best be communicated with? Text, call, email, like, like one that I saw on there on the KWRI one was level of honesty. Like, do you want me to tell you that you have a shitty house? Like, like what, like level of honesty, like what are we talking about here? Do you want me to be brutally honest? Or do you want me to just like,
Sugarcoat a little.
sugarcoat things? Like, exactly. Because some people prefer that. Some people don't like brutal honesty. And like,
Well,
that's
when you set
fine.
yourself up later, when you have to have a, a price reduction conversation, you say, listen, you did tell me that you wanted me to be 100% honest with you. Is
Yeah,
that right? Well,
exactly.
now's the time to talk about this. right? And
Exactly.
so it kind of sets the expectations and sets you up for success in life. So
Oh, yeah.
question, so once you get your checklist set up in here, is there a way if you wanted to print this or export the list? So if you wanted to print it in person, or put it part of your listing presentation, something like that, or not really?
I don't
That's
think that
separate.
there's a way to print it.
Just-
Which is why I like to see, so I'm maintaining, you'll notice that like, when we go in here, so I went into the folder, but I keep mine in here as well, and I'm actually. So this one right here, Adrian's opportunities and stages, so I'm actually, this is mine, what I'm using personally, and anybody can go in here and they can take from it whatever they want. I'm maintaining this, so that is my printed copy of it.
Yeah.
So, but real quick, you guys, so when we are creating these tasks, it does give you all of these different options to enter in for the task. So you would put the name of the task. You can put any description. Description's really for you. It's going to give you like a reminder on like how to do certain things or maybe things that you need to be mentioning to the client, things like that. Hyperlink is like, say, for example, you want to share your app link with them. You would put that in here, and that would be a quick, easy way for you to grab that link to give to them at the buyer consult. Or if you're wanting to show your seller that you have this app and this is another way that you're trying to drive buyers into their listing, or they could use it. You could set them up on a search, and they could use your app to keep an eye on the competition. And your search could be tailored to their competition. So things like that might help. So one last thing that I did want to kind of point out is this include in client updates. So initially going into all of this, getting all of their stuff into the system, I'm probably not going to be sending them an update that I'm putting in all of their information into the database and things like that. However, hey, you guys, Monica, it is going to pick up on you. Sorry, I'm recording it. So real quick, as we go into the different phases though, when I am going into the active phase, there are going to be a lot of things that I'm going to want to put that as check marked, right? So I'm going to cancel this. And if I go to active and I go to my checklist on here, there's probably a lot of things on here that I'm going to want them to get an update for, right? Ordering the professional photography. So here's one thing that I'm seeing right now, and it might go just like 1 or 2 minutes. So one thing that I'm seeing right now, personally, is I have some friends who I've known for a really long time, and I don't talk to them very often, but they live like about 1.5 blocks, maybe 2 blocks away from me, and they listed their home with somebody else, and now that person is like really dropping the ball, and they're like really regretting that they went with this person. This person has not, they've told me they've not communicated with them. They're not telling them anything. The first offer that went on the house, or the first accepted offer that went in on the house has now fallen through, and they're super frustrated because they already bought another house. And so they're really frustrated. They're not getting any communication, which is horrible. Right. And this lady's she's a teacher, so she is a dual career person. And I always feel for the dual career realtors, like it's tough, especially when you've got something that's like a teacher. It's like it's really going to pull you. But she's not communicating. If she had something like this that was notifying them automatically that certain things are being done, she doesn't have to worry about that. If the system's automatically going to let them know, hey, photography was ordered. Hey, it got put into private collection. Hey, it went out in flex. Hey, the warranty was ordered. All of these things, right? And to show you real quick what this looks like, because I know I'm about to head over on time, so I'm just going to show this real fast. What this is going to look like is you go into your settings, and then you are going to go over into command settings, opportunity settings, and right here is client update. I go into client update, and I want to make sure, because this is going to go out to them once a day. If nothing is done, if as far as like your checklist and what is, sorry, just seeing that there was a chat. Thank you, your time. Okay, yeah, you got it, Carletta. If nothing on the checklist was done, they don't get an email. It doesn't go out. But if something on the checklist that they are getting an update for was done, they get an email update for it. And this is where we determine when that's happening. You can set the time here and you can set who it's going to. If you want it to send you a copy, you can do that. Let me move these boxes. This out of the way. It also will give you right here a little preview of what that email looks like. So if I click on preview, this is what they're getting. It's going to be your stuff. It's not going to, this is just a default one that it's showing, but it's going to be your stuff in here, all of your marketing based off of what it's pulling from your marketing profile, but it is going to show which checklist items were done that previous day. Okay.
And so on yours, you can set up, say, checklist item 1, photos ordered, checklist, right? and it's-
Exactly. Exactly. So it is going to go based off of whatever that checklist item is named. Okay. All right. Sorry to go over. Thank you all.
You're one.
Just kidding. All right, thank you all for showing up. I got all your guys' names. I will get you added onto the thing at the back of the classroom for the ticket. We will see you next time. Hit me up if you have any questions or you need anything. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.